Yeah. So, very small.
If my understanding is correct, this is okay, sir. You can continue. If anybody else wants,
yeah, understanding. Let me explain it a little bit.
Yeah.
So we saw the swaras or the vowels, which are. Oh, I'm just writing it. I mean, you should know that the three swaras, base swaras, foundational swaras, are A, E, U.
Yeah. Should we mute our system?
No. There is no noise right now.
Okay.
A, E, U. So these are the base or the fundamental vowels or the swaras, because these can be also called pure swaras, A, E, U. And these are represented in Devanagari like this, Devanagari script. And if you want to do it in a transcription way, then we can write it like E and U. So, how is A pronounced? Let's have a quick revision. How is A pronounced? What is A is the most fundamental or the very natural sound, right? Not A. So, what is the position of the throat? What is the position of the tongue? And how are the lips positioned? The lips are slightly open, and the air is pushed out. And when the air is pushed out, at the voice box, it will hit the voice cords, and then the vibration is produced, and the comes out. And the throat is in the relaxed status, tongue is in the relaxed neutral status. The neutral status means what? What is the neutral status of the tongue? It is just sitting on the floor of the mouth there, oral cavity. It is just sitting on the oral cavity there, right? This is the oral cavity. The tongue is sitting there. So comes out. Now for E comes out, the throat, you can feel it. It is there. The muscles there, they are a bit more tense compared to what we are saying when we are saying and the position of the tongue is important here. Okay? The position of the tongue.
Slightly increases to right.
So the position of the tongue. You move on this one. No. Position of the tongue raises up. Right? It raises up like this, but it does not touch anywhere in the mouth cavity. So there is a slight contraction of air when passing out, and the lips, they are horizontally stretched a bit, E, and the sound comes out as E. And for U, the sound comes out as U when the lips are rounded, throat muscles are relaxed, and then what? What is the position of the throat muscles are still like E, and what is the position of the tongue? Position of the tongue for U is also neutral.
Yeah.
Like now, these are the pure swaras or pure vowels what we studied last time. Now, how do we combine now? Combine means now while combining, the factor of timing comes into picture. So in the last class, we little bit touched upon the timing factor. Now when we say we can keep on saying for a long time or however we want to. But for the purpose of the language, when it is used in a word, that sound when it comes in a word, then it's how long it should be pronounced generally. So the duration of these pronunciations are measured in terms of matra and shiksha. It is not measured in like a second or millisecond, but it is measured in something called matra. Okay. What is matra? There is no precise definition in Shikshaa granthas or Shiksha books. However, in somewhere there are attempts to give some definition of measurement. Yeah. So, like the one which is like a bird having a small, quick sound of a bird, a blue jay bird, is like a one matra, like that. And the crow cooing is 2 matras. So like that, there is, and the other one was 3 matras was for the peacock. The peacock, obviously, when it is happy in the dancing in the rain, it is going to make a long sound. But generally, in the normal state, what it makes sound, that is comparable to 3 matras. That is what has been given. But one thing we should note that the Shiksha granthas, we should not take them literally in many cases like this, for example. Now, these are just comparative statements, and with previously with some guidance from the teachers, they used to understand what is a matra, what is 2 matra, what is 3 matras, etc.
Anjali Asmi.
Namaste, Bhagini. But generally nowadays, we have got devices which can be scientific devices which can be measured. Even these matras of the duration can be measured, and also the frequencies of these sounds, vibration patterns also can be measured. So those all have been done on various language speakers. So based on that, a matra, if you look at Wikipedia, what I found there, matra, they give 1 matra is 0.4 seconds, which looks or sounds good to me, which is like a half a second you can think of. Like, so when we say then is 1 second is like 1 tick, which is a bit longer when than the time we need to pronounce Right? So like about half a second, we can think of it as a matra. So 2 matras is 1 second, and 3 matras is actually 1.5 seconds. So with that timing in mind, we can now think of these short vowels and long vowels also. Yeah. So in the short vowel, we have a. And the same thing or similar one, if we pronounce it for longer time or double the time of which is 2 matras, 2 matras is like about a second, is a. Right? Now, what is the position of the mouth? Throat obviously is relaxed for both and a, and position of the tongue is both neutral. But what is the condition of the lips here, or the opening of the mouth? For we said it is slight open. And what is for a? When we say a,
Wide open.
Yeah, wide open vertically. So though again, yeah. So though in the Shikshaa Granthas we see that. Someone has to mute. Hearing echo. Hello. Yeah. So these are said to be like is the double the time of Yeah. Is a double the time of and everything else is same, which is not 100% correct, right? Because in the we have this in the we have this slight opening of the lips, but for there is a wide opening. But that you have to take into account practically. So there is some difference between and in the lips. Is there is a wide opening. The timing is also different for it is double the time of as well as the lips. The opening is also different. So and then E. So this is not a problem. So we have short E and long E. So here also the timing is just more here. So I muted everybody. So if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask. Or if you have any comments, can unmute. And E. Yeah. So there is the timing factor is double for E, and U also same. Timing factor is double, but otherwise the other formations remain same here. For E, the lips are stretched horizontally, and the throat is tense, and tongue is approaching the top part here. And U, here also the tongue is neutral status, throat is tense, and the lips are circular, or you can also say a little bit protruded, means pointing forward. So before moving forward, I think most of the people.
Sir, I have a query here. Yeah, when we say and I think even the lip position can remain the same. When I say antara versus amraphalam, the lip position actually doesn't open. There is no change in the position of the lips. Antara versus amraphalam. When we say with a pronunciation like and then because we are trying to emphasize there is a wider opening. But in normal usage, actually between and the lip position doesn't change.
Yeah, I mean, there are both the schools are there, but we can force it to remain same and say Okay? When you say Okay? Anybody else want to try and
No.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, right. So when we say the time should be double the time of About 1 second you can say it for should be lesser time, should be more time.
Is that better?
Yes.
Thank you.
So while for the every sound has a character, right? Because if that's why they sound different. If everything is same, every character is same, then it would sound the same. So what are the characters? How do we identify a sound? So basically, there are three characters or three different factors which are given here in the phonetics or Shikshaa. Sthanam is the position of the sound. What is the position? Position is where the air is being constricted to produce the sound, and then air is being constricted within the oral cavity. And second is Karanam, or the instrument, or the actuator. This also we can call it actuator. Means actuator. So generally most of the times we use the tongue as the actuator. So suppose if you imagine a flute again, a flute as a wind instrument which has the holes here, the air comes out. So this we can assume as the oral cavity, air coming through the pipe, and where the air is being constricted, at what position, at what hole it is being stopped. So that we can use as a position, and with fingers we are going to stop, right, with different fingers. So they are the actuators. So in this case, in case of our mouth or our voice apparatus, organs here, most of the times we use tongue, but there are other possibilities also. Then there is effort also. Effort or process. Sometimes prayatna is the word which is used in the Shikshaa works, compositions, but which literally translates to effort, but it also involves process. What happens actually when that sound is being produced. So with these three different points, three different characters, each sound's pattern or character will be different.
Would you please pronounce position again?
You mean in English?
No, in Sanskrit.
Sthanam.
All right, thank you.
Sthanam.
What is the first letter in
Yes,
that word?
yes. Sorry.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Sthanam or position. Now, the different position different. Now, there were some questions last week and there are some doubts. Now, there are hundreds of Shikshaa books, Shikshaa works on Shikshaa, and they are ancient. They are very old. I mean, may not be very old. Some are even like as recent as 13th, 16th centuries, and some are very old, before BCE also. But because of the nature of these books or the works, they're ancient, first of all, and secondly, they are trying to put something phonetics, how to pronounce in words, in writing, which is not precise actually. So those we'll have to understand. We'll have to compare. One is practical, another is logical, and the third is we'll have to do a comparative study of different these works and then understand what they actually mean. That is one thing. Secondly, we have to understand the context also. So some of these works, they belong to certain parts of Vedas. So they are very specific to that part. So how they are pronounced and what should be the sequence, etc. And other thing is that if we compare all these works, then there are many other positions also defined. So what positions are listed here, they are just a high level kind of thing, or main ones you can say. But there could be other positions which are related to this, or sub-positions you can say. So we'll have to, and even same thing with the instruments also. Instruments means the actuator with what we are actually trying to constrict the air. So there also these different actuators are given there, but there are some variations also in different Shikshaa granthas or Shikshaa works. So there are in sometimes there is a difference of opinion also in positions and also instruments and prayatna also. But in different of opinions are not like totally diverge, but they are almost there because they are trying to explain that in words, the words they have used, because also the nature of the Sanskrit language itself. So in any Sanskrit word you take, it doesn't actually pinpoint to a certain meaning. So a lot of meanings can be extracted, interpreted from that word. So they are trying to use a word to explain something which is sound or phonetics, which can be only heard. So there are different interpretations will arise there. So we need to keep that in mind and then try to understand what we are doing here. Okay, so again coming back to the vowels or the swara, in Sanskritam they are called swara, which we saw last time. What is a swara? A swara which can be pronounced independent of what? Without touching any part of the mouth. This is the technical definition. But so accordingly, what we have studied so far last week is one was a sound and another was a sound, which is double the time of a, and then there is e sound, and double the time of e sound, and then there is u sound. Sorry, let me be consistent here. U, and then there is a u sound. So these pairs here. So one is short, one is long. Short, long. So these obviously we are not touching the tongue or lip or anywhere within the oral cavity. So the air is coming straight out. Yes, it is being constricted at some places. When we are saying we don't see any constriction. It is just a natural one. And then there is with the tongue for e, there is slight constriction, but still there is no touch at all. And when we say u, there is a constriction with the lips, or the modulation with the lips. So the u is for the air is being thrown out with the rounded lips here. So there is no touch here at all. So these three will perfectly fit when we say swara. Then there is vowel. Also, the first one here in this pair, a, here we saw a is a short one. So in English we can call it short, and these are the technical terms we're calling them. Just like matra is a technical term. Matra is a technical term for 1 unit of time needed to pronounce a. That is one matra. That is a technical term, and swara is also a technical term here. And similarly, short in English we can call, and in Sanskritam it is called raswa. Raswa. Yeah. Raswa. Raswa, which is short, and the long one is called long, which is a, e, u. This is called dirgha. In Sanskritam or in English you can call long. If I write this in transcription, it can be written like this: R, dirgha, long. So these are technical terms. So raswa, or a short vowel, has a matra or a unit of 1 matra, time unit, and the long vowel has a unit of 2 matras. So this is what we have to understand with raswa and dirgha. So we have raswa dirgha for a, raswa dirgha for e, and raswa dirgha for u. So Suresh Mohoday, so when we say a in the natural position of lips, and we need to open our mouth a little bit wider, as also not only practical, yes, practically we can force, but practically also we can say a bit wider, and also it has a support from some of the Shikshaa Granthas. Not all the Shikshaa Granthas mention this, but there is some of them, they mention that a is indeed is not exactly same as as far as the lips openings are concerned.
I think the difference is very subtle, because in some words when we say Rama versus Rama, the difference is very clear. But when I say Antara versus Ananda, very subtle difference.
Yes, it is subtle, obvious. Yes.
Bodha.
No.
But when I pronounce e, like, but my tongue is touching the teeth on the sides. Is that correct?
Tongue is touching the side of the teeth.
Like when you see the teeth is round, like it's like a oval shape, right? So,
right.
But on the sides, it is touching my on the sides, not the tip of the tooth actually, not in the front where U shape is merging, but on the sides it is touching. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like touching, but it should not actually. It is not. It does not touch. The air passes there.
Yeah, air passes. That is correct, but it does touch the teeth on the sides.
No, actually, this one is raising up, right? Sorry.
The tongue is going up, but again, on the sides of the tongue is touching the teeth.
Sides of the teeth, I do not experience that. So when suppose I say E, the tongue is just raising up.
It doesn't even touch any part of the teeth?
No.
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 Then I'm not doing right then. Okay.
See, if you expand the lips too much, then it feels like touching. There's no need to expand the lips or widen the lips too much.
But it's yeah, it's okay. I mean, I don't know. For some reason, mine is touching a little bit on the sides.
It touches towards the front, the bottom of the front teeth a bit, but not to the side of the mouth.
No, there is no touch. There should not be touch anywhere.
It may
comes
seem
close to
as
it.
if touching the bottom of the gums, but it's not really touching
No,
it. It is
it's
just
not
the
really
normal position of the tongue when you are saying E.
E. Ah.
Like when you say Ishvara.
E.
Uh,
Not touching.
yeah. So another thing is that when we know the word, when we say the word, in a word, these vowels are coming out quickly, and but when we are studying like this, and when we try to make it like a slow motion, then we may feel it different. So you have to keep in mind. So if you try to pronounce a word like whether Ishvara, then you notice without slowing down. Try to notice, pronounce it many times, and try to notice. But if you try to slow it down, I was trying to do it last time when we were studying A. When you say A in a word, like what is the word for A?
Isha.
Esha. When you do this, it comes out quickly. A comes out quickly. But when I was trying to do last time, like a slow motion, then like it is difficult to explain. When I say A is a combination of A and E. Then when we try to slow motion this and say A first and then E later, then we can hear this separately. Then the confusion might come. How can A become A and E? Right? But when we say A, then if you start noticing, when you say it many times, and when you start noticing what is the initial position of the tongue and what is the final position of the tongue when you say A, so then you may understand it better. You may experience it better. Like why A is known or called combination of A and E, because the tongue position is neutral. When we say it's just sitting on the floor there, and then when we see E, it raises up. But when you say A, then in a word, or when we generally saying A, we might feel that at the end position that the tongue is like this. But if you notice where it starts, but that starting is very quick. Starting is very starting position lasts for a very short time. That is why those proportions are given within A. What is the proportion or time proportion of A? How much portion of A is there? How much portion of E is there? So that has to be noticed. So again, that was relative, right? So if you look at A, so I'm referring to the book I had given, Shikshaa, Bodha. So A, and this is a compilation of all the other different Shikshaa works only. So A, there is half matra, and E, there is 1.5 matra in A. So if you see that composition there, or what it comprises of, Shikshaa say A portion, the first part, is only half matra, and the rest E portion is 1.5. So making total 2 matras, which is about 1 second. So in that only this is 25%, this is 75%. So this is very, very short. So we'll have to keep that in mind. So when we are saying A, so if you are all familiar with this letter, then we know that Esha. But if you are learning new, then you have to keep these timing factors in mind. So A should be pronounced, that a position for A is very small. Then immediately move to E, which should consume about 1.5 times this one, the position of A. 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 Now, because this A is not a, A is made up of two different vowels, A and E. It is not a pure vowel. Still, there is no touch of tongue anywhere, right? It's not touching anywhere. Lips are not touching anywhere. Still, it is a vowel. It is swara, but it is not a pure swara because it is a combination. So this is a this is called, in Sanskrit it is called sandhakshara. Sandhakshara, sandhi and akshara. Sandhi, which I'll write here, sandhi. Sandhi means combination. Sandhi is combination of two sounds. So this A is a combination of two sounds, A and E. So it is a type of sandhi only. So it is called sandhakshara or sandhi letter made up of sandhi. Another example we saw, combination of A and U. You combine A and U. Again here half and here 1.5 times this the position of A. So if you do this quickly, U is pronounced with a rounding of lips. So start with A, change it to U quickly. O, O, O. So this is also a sandhakshara. The total duration is 2 units, 2 matras. So we are trying to combine 2 pure out of 3. There are 3 pure sounds like A, E, O. 3 pure vowels, and when you double them, we get their pairs like A, E, O, double in the sense, double the time. But if we are trying to combine them, now there are different combinations possible. A and E, short A, short E. Combine them, we got A. We got A. And combine these two, we got O. Because we are combining this short vowel. What is the timing of short vowel? If it is independently pronounced, this is 1 matra. E is 1 matra. And because we are combining them, this has to be 2 matras. So, as we know, the short vowel, the 1 matra pronunciation is called hrasva or short, and E is short. So we are combining these two, and this is 2 matras, and this has to be long, or dirgha, because it has 2 matras. But however, within these 2 matras, A and E, they both do not occupy the same amount of time. So A is just half, and E is 1.5. Same thing with the O. O total has 2 matras because it is a combination of 2 vowels who each independently pronounced have 1 matra. So O has 2.
When you're pronouncing these vowels, how much air is actually being pushed?
I is called Sandhiswara.
Sandhakshara. Sandhiswara or Sandhakshara. Sandhi plus Akshara.
Sandhi plus Akshara. Sandhyakshara. Not Sandhiswara.
Not Sandhiswara. Typically, I mean, there is no problem as such in calling Sandhiswara because they are also swaras. But akshara has a definite definition. We'll see. I think if you have not seen that, you can see that later. After or during the study of our consonants. Question was, how much air should be forced? Any answer?
A little or more.
The quantity of air doesn't change based on the swara.
Yeah, but how much?
It is how much is it more of time, right? It is the matra, the time duration for which it is expelled. It is
Right.
not by quantity.
I asked because I'm an English speaker, and so all of the Sanskrit words have a lot of air. When I try to pronounce it, I feel like I'm getting more air than I do.
Air more than
There was some disturbance. What are the question again? Sorry.
The question was about the amount of the air forced pronouncing A and O compared to E, U.
Oh. Is that a question?
Yes, because in English, the A is much higher, and I think there's more constriction. But when I hear you say the words, even though you don't talk about the air, to my ear, it sounds like there's more air being pushed when those vowels are being pronounced.
Yeah, what do you say, Suresh Mode?
Yeah, as I said earlier, it's not about the quantum of air, but it's the duration with for which you push the air out, and the position of all the three sthanam that we talked about: position, karanam, and direction.
Yeah, there is no specification of air, or there is no change in the air quantity. And E, A is the same, only the position and the duration is changing.
Yeah, like E would be longer, that's it.
Maybe because of the increased duration, it sounds as if we are forcing more air when we are actually not.
Yeah, but I think she said she did not hear more air. Is that right, Radhika?
I can't tell, but I think she might be onto something, that it's because the vowels said for more time. But when I try to practice, like if I say when I say the longer one, I feel like I'm pushing more air, but I don't think I'm saying it correctly. So I'm trying to figure out if I'm...
Yeah, there is no air need to be pushed more here because you are not putting more effort anywhere here. Maybe because we are saying it independently, standalone A, as Anjali Vigini said, so it may feel that we are pushing more air just to make it clear that we are saying A. Because when we say E, there is similar amount of air is there. When we say E, when we say A, there is similar amount of air, but maybe because we are just saying it separately, may feel like that.
Thank you.
No, in terms of quantum of air, when we say versus because the duration is double, if typically from the overall quantum of air, yes, from to the air pushed out is slightly longer, because when you try to say for a long time, it becomes difficult. But it's not the rate of air that's being pushed out will remain constant, I think.
Right.
Maybe the volume of the air that is pushed out, do you say when you are saying O and with the the volume of the air that is moved is double.
And total volume is doubled because the duration is doubled.
Now I have to say something. While pronouncing and because requires slightly more effort, that might require more air.
Bodha, Hari Om, Vivekananda.
No, there is no more air in I. No more air. The same amount. I'm sorry. I'm actually Pushpa. I'm from another class, so I just joined because there was no other class going on.
Yeah. So can you please repeat what you said?
What I said was there is no difference in the amount of air that when you say I or A is the same.
Mm-hmm.
But when you say that length of time you're saying is longer. That's why you're pushing more air, not because of what is coming out of it. To pronounce it. Pronounce is the same, but the
not because of the effort.
Length, that's it.
Right. Yeah, not because of the effort, not because of the duration. Yeah, Vivekananda.
Mahodaya, Hari Om. Pandini said art and art. These are time kala for pronunciation. Am I right with that? I just put a chat there for you.
No, art and art, they are not the time. No. Art refers to is the short, R refers to long R. Those are the samajna or the symbols he is using to define A and R. Art and art not, there is not defining the time itself. But there is another sutra, but where he talks about u for short u and long u and extra long u. Yeah. But we don't need to go into that sutra right now.
Right, yeah. Because what I'm hearing at the moment, if you listen to the Indian people from the Himalaya to Kanyakumari, they all speak differently in terms of Sanskrit and Hindi. Hindi is a corrupted language, as a matter of fact, with Persian and Urdu and whatsoever. I'm not going to that, but in Sanskrit they have all different pronunciation. For example, you have Kri, but in the South Indian people say Kru. You don't say Krishna, it's Krishna from the northern people, but the South people say Krishna. So it is a different pronunciation. And Panini didn't say that because he tells you in the sutras there are certain mouth positions that the tongue has to be placed in the mouth in order to pronounce that. Am I right? If you take Ri, you don't say Ri, Tu, Ta, Ta, Da, Na, Ru, Sha.
No, Mahodaya, we'll come to that Ru later. So let's finish this I. And Panini is not the only one. I mean, what we are trying to say here is Shikshaa one. And Panini has defined the positions at a very basic level which are required for his grammatical work only. They have not looked at it from the Shiksha point of view.
Oh, thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Yeah. Because we will look at that quickly. So here A is over A, and then we combine O and E, we got A. Then, but if we combine A and E, we'll get I. I pronounced like I here. So again, this one is how long this should be pronounced in the I. What is the portion of A and what is the portion of E? For A, the portion of A was half and the portion of E was 1.5. But I is defined 1 and 1.5. Sorry, 1 and 1, right? So total it has to be 2. because there are combination. A itself has 2 matras and E itself has 1 matra. So if you combine, it should be actually
3.
If they are pronounced one after another, then it should be 3. But now the I, we are saying that it has A portion of up to 1 unit of 1 matra, and E portion also 1 matra. Yeah.
Guruji, maybe is it possible that probably we can have a small example just to give it, just my thought was Gana plus Isha, Ganesha. So if and in that you can explain to us how that matras are counted, for example.
No. What do you mean by count of matra?
No. For example, now you said 1 matra per and E is to 1.5, right? So then it becomes totally, when you say A, it becomes 2 totally, right?
That's a different
No.
class. Right, Mahadaya? That's a different class. To make your R to E, I-E, A.
No. So this is a reverse analysis, Mahadaya. This is when we are taking A and then we are saying that it is of 2 matras, and in that the A portion should be half matra, and then the portion of E should be about 1.5 matras. Now, I don't know whether you were there initially when we begin the class. The half matra you can generally say, 1 matra you can generally say about 0.4 second to half second. 0.4 second is about, and generally these, what is the exact second, how much second is not given in the Shikshaa Shastra. They only talk about matras only, and what is exactly a matra is not precisely defined. So they only talk about this, what is found in the nature, about the birds, etc. Now, but you can approximate to 0.4 second. This also I found in Wikipedia only, which sounds good only. If you look up Shikshaa in Wikipedia, under that is given 0.4 second. Probably, I don't know how that person has measured it there, but it sounds about right to me. Okay? So this is 1 matra. So if you consider that, so A together is 2 matras, which is about 1 second to pronounce. That is how much time is needed, either mostly when it is pronounced within a word. So if you say Ganesha, there is A portion is there in the name, so that should take about 2 seconds. Okay? Now, because it is also associated with the Vyanjanam, how much total time it is going to take, we'll see a little bit later. But A, just as pronounced as it is, in a word. So what is the one word with A? As we said, Esha. Okay, so let's say Esha. Esha. So this one, when the A part is going to take about 1 second. When we say Esha. Esha. So that is the logic here. And the A comprises of 2 internal sounds. When we are trying to say A, first the position is A, then the position is E. In that the A is pronounced very quickly, only for about half matra, which is half of this, which is about 0.2 seconds, right? And 1.5 matras, or 1.5 times of this half is the position of who. So it's a reverse analysis. We don't need to go from like how A and E together is going to become A. But I'm not sure whether you are referring to matra means the matras which are counted in music. That is different. So this matra is just a unit of time of pronunciation.
Mahodaya, music, I think we have the same thing. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. I think it's the same time kala we have in music as well.
I don't know about it. Okay, so
what was the question? he said something about Saregamapa. I may know something if he wants to tell me.
Yeah, but we don't need to discuss that now.
No, there is no need to. The music and the pronunciation of words and letters is different, actually. Okay?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Because he was saying that this matra, matra and in music, matras in music are same or similar.
Matras in music and I don't think, well, I don't think you have to worry about that because in music you go to the music and learn there.
Right.
In pronunciation of the Sanskrit letters or words, is Sanskrit. Okay, when you're learning Sanskrit, I don't think that has any comparison. I don't think.
Yeah, so that's all right. Let's not bring that music here. So it's okay. O plus E, we have got A, then A plus E, we are getting I. Okay, so I is also another Sandhakshara. Now when we say, similarly, let me just finish writing this. A plus U, we got O, and A plus U, this long A plus U, we get O. So this O also should take 2 matras, 2 units, and O should also take 2 matras. So O consists of A and U pronounced in quick succession, and O consists of A and U pronounced in quick succession, in total 2 matras. So if we make a table like this, if I write 1 matra, 2 matra, etc., E 1 matra, E 2 matras, and U 1 matra, 1 matra, and U 2 matras, A 2 matras, I 2 matras, O 2 matras, right? So you may ask, why can't we pronounce this A with the same amount needed for A? Right? So because A consists of two matras, that is by definition we are saying. So it is consists of A and E inside it. Sorry again. A and E inside it. So total it should be 2 matras by definition. But why can't I just say short A, which is equivalent in amount to A, the time? Is it possible or not?
No, there is a sandhi there, so it is, both have their time components. In fact, even if you look at Dirgha A, you can also look at that as sandhi of A plus A. Then that becomes A 2 matras.
Yeah, 2 matras.
It's not possible because you have to make 2 different sounds.
Yeah, correct. So same thing with the others also, like especially this O. However, some of the Shikshaa granthas, they do permit this short A. Though in the language,
Yeah, in Sanskrit we have only A and I, but in Telugu, the language we have A and I.
Yeah, so when we say Sanskrit, No, when we say Sanskritam, we are talking of the outside Vedas, what we talk every day, which is called a Laukika Sanskritam, or classical, let's say classical Sanskritam, which is for everyday use. There, which, as per the current Vakaranam or grammar which is followed, or the rules which are followed, we are all following Paniniya grammar. Right? So there the definition is this A is 2 matras. And which is practically maybe true also. So in all the words we pronounce in Sanskritam in everyday use today, they usually take 2 matras. Though we can force it to become 1 matra, just to short A. As you are saying in Telugu and some other languages, there are short A's and long A's also there. And their symbols are also, script is also different for short A and long A. Similarly, in some of the Shikshas specific to some of the branches of the Vedas, they define the short A also. So we just keep in mind, it's not necessary that we are going to pronounce it, but they are also permissible. So it is not that these are like a hard and fast, defined in stone kind of this 2 matras and 2 matras. Depending on where it is applicable, where it is being used, so these are defined. So people who wrote these Shikshas, they were not like blindly following some kind of a rule. So what is applicable there, in what context that needs to be used, accordingly logically they have placed and studied and placed these different, because they are not refuting, they are not saying that it is not at all possible. No, don't say shortly. They're not saying that.
Sorry, Sanjeevji. I think I made a definitive statement that I was more meaning it as a question, like you mean it's not possible because it's 2 different sounds, or it is possible. So you're saying?
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not saying.
I'm confused a little, I guess.
No, that's absolutely fine. But I'm saying logically it makes sense, because it has got 2 letters. It will take more time. That is logical explanation.
How is A plus short U? Rasvavu?
Yes, Rasvavu. A is long and short U is Au. Yes,
what will be A plus Dirghavu?
That is not defined.
Achha.
Mahodaya, O, na? No, O. A plus U. Oh, A plus U. Okay.
A plus U is O. A plus U is Au.
It can be A plus U also Au. Only A is the difference. Correct?
Yeah, only A is the difference, because how the Au is defined, A is 1 matra and U is 1 matra. Because U is 1 matra, we don't want to take a long U here. Though again, now, if we want to really pronounce like Au, it is possible. Au is possible. But again, everything is possible. All types of pronunciations are possible. But we are defining these or restricting these pronunciations to only certain syllables or letters with certain amounts and certain patterns only. Why? Because to use these are used in the languages, in the current language. These are used. So that is why we are defining this. A having 2 matras is good enough for the words which are currently found in the classical Sanskrit. In some Veda, that's why in some Veda branches, if they want to pronounce short A, that's fine. That's where that part of the Shikshaa will define it. So this is the short A.
Is Au twice as long as O?
Sorry?
Is O half the amount of time of Au?
No. Both are the same time. O is also 2 matras. Au is also 2 matras.
So A, I, O, Au are all the same length of time.
Yes. Same length of time.
Okay.
Only the as A and U, they are same length. A, I, U, O, O. So A, I, O, O. They are same amount of time. Only the first portion's time factor is differing. So here it is 1, here it is half, it is 1. Here it is half, here it is half, it is 1. U is 1. The second, so this is E, right? This is E. So this one will take 1 matra, this E will also take 1 matra, and O in this is 1 matra. Yeah, and O is, A is half matra, E is 1 matra, A is 1 matra, O is 1 matra. But total remains same. Okay.
I thought it was 1.5 matras on A. So the E would be 1.5. The A would be.
Oh yeah. Right. Sorry. Did I miss it? Okay. So they are the Sandhaksharas combination. Now other combinations between these are not possible, keeping them as vowels. We'll study them when we come to consonants.
Bodha, can you go back screen? The last one is A plus U, or it's A plus U?
Both.
Last one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Dhanyavad.
So I will remain as 1 matra. You will remain as 1 matra. I. Right. So are there any other possibilities without touching?
Hari Om Mahodaya. So O and Au have the same time color.
And also R?
Yeah. O and Au. They have the same time measure, which is 2.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, sir.
So with this, the three pure vowels, U and the double there. So if we go to this is a chart of vowels here in Devanagari script. So here we have this we covered this, right? A, E, U, long, and A, I, O, O. So the E, U, these are the pure base vowels. A, E, U, these are the double the time. And A, I, O, they are the combinations. There is sound coming. I want to mute again. So you can unmute if you want later. So these are the swaras, vowels. Now that means without the tongue touching anywhere, we are able to pronounce these. Is there any other possibility without touching the tongue anywhere and without taking the help of any other effort? Okay, I'm assuming not possible. So let's move on to.
Hari Om Mahadev.
Yeah.
I think this is you have to have the open mouth position. I think it's called vrita, and I think Panini said akuha visarjani niyayam kanta.
Yeah. What was your first statement, Mother? First what it started with? Rita?
What I'm saying that Panini have given us where the tongue position should be in the mouth to pronounce the a and the ku and the ha and the visarga, and it says in the kanta, and that should be in an open mouth position, vivritaha. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, my approach is a little bit different. I can just we can just read the sutras and finish it, but we can also look a little bit practically. Then we can form the sutras ourselves from where they are originating. So you can go to any book and find the sutras and read it. That's fine. But we can see what we have looked at now is that u, e, u. These are the base things we studied. So what is the position of here now? Did we need any construction anywhere? Panini is saying what we already know or what we already experienced. So at least for E, is not very clear. So is just we are saying that the air comes out naturally. So everything is in natural position. Lips are slightly open because the air has to go out. Otherwise, if the air doesn't come out, cannot be pronounced easily because then the air has to pass through the nose. Then that becomes a different sound. Then because we want to pass the air out through the mouth, so we are making the lips a little bit open. So everything is natural. Okay? When the throat position is relaxed, natural, and the tongue is natural, and the air comes out. That is the natural position. So, but where the air is constricting there, or whether there is a constriction, it is not very clear. So let's stick to that now. And talu is palate. Now this talu is again talu murda. These are little bit areas. We should not take them like a one point in the mouth. It is also possible. We should take the area. So when we say throat, so it is this area. Okay, this area, a little bit here, and then talu, this area. I am writing the English translation here, which are approximate. Again, look practically here, and we'll have to decide on the position, exact position. Then talu. Then we have the next murtnam, but when we say we'll look at this later. But we saw which is we did not feel any kind of constriction. Then when we say E, what happened? This is moving the tongue is moving towards upwards. What part of tongue is moving? The upper part of the tongue. When you say E, the tongue protrudes a little bit forward. That means what? This top part, the flat top part of the tongue is moving up, but it is not touching, moving up. Moving up towards what? Towards this part, which is known as talu in Sanskritam, or you can say this part a little bit. So this area, talu. So the position of E is called talu. That is what Karanam was trying to refer, that Panini has given these positions. Yes, he has defined. So he says the position for A is kantha, that means is this portion, where the air is being constricted, which we do not feel because it is a bit wide there. Then there is, because the tongue is moving towards this top part, to say E, the position of E, letter E is talu. That is the position. And what is the actuator? Now we know the actuator, right? What is the actuator? Actuator means what part of the tongue we are trying to constrict, with what part of the tongue we are trying to constrict the air. For E, we are trying to use the top flat part of the tongue, right? Top flat part. So that is the actuator for the E letter.
Mahodaya? Hariom. So E in the talu would be E, cha, 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 nya, ya, sha.
No, Mahodaya, 1 second. Let's not move forward. Let's stick to E. Let's finish this. So we are not going backwards here. My approach is not going backwards. So I am not saying what all the letters are in talu. I am saying what is the position of E only.
Yeah. J. Mahodaya.
So kantha, so the throat position, which is this cavity here. So what position means where it is being constricted, and karana means with what it is being constricted. So for E it is clear. So E, because we can experience, because it is here, which is outside. But A, which feels natural, but if you really get inside and see, again there are difference of opinion here. Some of the works say there is no constriction, it is totally natural. However, there has to be some constriction, otherwise that vibration is not possible, technically. So when our Shikshaa Granthas say the position of A is throat, that means the air is being constricted here. Though the constriction is less, we don't feel it. And similarly, the Karanam instrument for that is the root of the tongue, the very back of the tongue, where the tongue is attached to the oral, whatever the cavity there. I don't know, in medical terms there may be some term here. I think there is a term where it is attached. It's called some joint. So from there it is pushed. It pushes a little bit towards the back of the throat here. So this part is called the root of the tongue. This is one of the actuators which is defined, root of tongue. And in Sanskritam it is called, tongue is called Juha. Tongue is called Juha, and root is Mula. Juha Mulam. So if I write it in here, is called, it's like this, Juha Moolam. Juha Moolam, or the root of the tongue. So if that is the actuator or the instrument you can think of for the sound and E sound. Similarly for the U sound, what is the sthanam we can consider here? U coming out, U. Or the position, where the air is being constricted. That we can experience, right? Huh?
The lips.
Lips, yeah. So for, for the U sound, it is lips, because the air is being constricted here. Now what is the Karanam instrument?
Front part of the tongue.
Huh? Is the tongue involved? Tongue is neutral here, right? Lips.
Bodha is Ushtau. Ushtau.
Yeah, Ushtau is the position.
That's the position of the lips to be placed when you are doing U, Pa, Pa, Bha, Bha, Ma.
The actuator is the lips.
And position is also lips. Now what about A?
A is Kantha-talu.
So A is a combination of what?
Kantha-talu.
That's correct, I agree with that.
There is an echo coming.
Throat and tongue.
Kantha-talu.
That's better now. Kantha-talu, because A is a combination of O and U, right? O and E. O and E, we have seen that now. There was a long discussion on that, O and E. So O, because O's position was throat, E's position is talu. Because A is a combination of O and E, is a combination of kantha and talu, which is throat and palate, which is obvious. I don't think there is any doubt or question about this, right? It's a combination. Similarly, I is also a combination of throat and palate, because O is a extension. I is extension of O. Then I, what is I? Same thing. Kantha-talu. Okay, what about O?
Kantha-oshtam.
O is a combination of O and O.
Kantoshtam.
So this is Kantoshta. There is Kantha and this is Oshtha. Because O is Kantha and O is Oshtha. Lips, needs lips. The sthanam position or position of air restriction is Kantoshta, means combination of throat and lips. Same thing with Au. Same thing with Au. Kantoshta, throat and lips. Just a combination of two. So with that, this is the chart of letters in the shown in Devanagari script as well as transcription here. So the vowels which are shown here.
one query. When we write A and I, typically A has one line at the top and I has two lines at the top, right? Like O and OW. Here it is shown without any.
No, I have not seen two lines on I. Have you seen Anjali Bhagini?
Yeah, when we write in the word Padam, it is always two lines, right? And one line is for A. Aneka.
To express just swara A, I, with A, there is only no line.
Yeah, in a word, okay.
But when we use with ko, like K, it is one line, and Kai, it has ko, has a two lines on the top.
Mahodaya, A don't have no flags on top of it. I have a flag on top of it.
Yeah, just the letter has no flag on the top, but if it is in combination of with the consonant, then there are two lines.
I have question.
Yes.
These boxes, 3 boxes for Vyanjanani, Vyanjana Charani. Is there a reason there is a separate box? How they pronounce?
No. Yeah, and these 2 boxes should be in one box, but this is a separate one. Because of the space constraint here, these 2 are separated. But why they are separate, we'll see it. This one is a separate box. However, here the swaras, so we covered these and we covered these. However, in this chart here, there are few more sounds which are represented like this. They are also given in this chart. However, as you can experience, there is no other way possible without touching the tongue to pronounce any other vowel, right? Or any other sound, to make any other sound, basically. So, why are these here? So, well, I think it's better to address that once we finish this Vyanjanam or consonants. Again, we can just go through like this linearly. That's one way. But these are somewhat related to consonants, because otherwise, without touching the tongue anywhere, is practically not possible. So, with touching the tongue, we come to Vyanjanam. Touching the tongue or with some other help or some other effort, then the sounds which are produced are called Vyanjanam or consonants. And these which fall here, which are shown here, they need such kind of effort, though they are put here. So, we can look at these Vyanjanams first, and then we'll be in a better position to understand these, why they are here. And last time there was a question, what about this and aha? And aha, there are no swaras, right? What is the definition of swara again? We have to be independently pronounced without touching anywhere. But when you say there is a touch. Aha, there is an effort of breath there. There is effort of breath and effort of throat also. So these are different sounds. We'll come to that in discussion a little later. Because once we understand Vyanjanam, then all these will be easier to understand. Now, the Vyanjanams, how they are, the sequence what they are given here, they are logically arranged. I think in the first class I was saying that the script can be used, any script can be used to, probably any script can be used to represent these sounds, but I think I was off on that because came to know that some of the scripts like Chinese and some of the scripts, they are picture based. I mean, they are not sound based. So basically we will not be able to use those such kind of scripts to represent sounds. So here when we are talking of sounds, in this Sanskritam and many other languages also which are like this, the sounds which are produced are arranged in sequence. Right? As we saw in the first itself, when we saw e, u, the position was in the throat here, and e, the position was the talu part here, and u, the position was lips here. So we are moving from back to front. Why are you not moving from front to back? Why is this more logical from back to front?
That's the direction of the air.
Yeah, that is the direction of air.
Yeah.
So the origin, the closest to the position of origin of speech. So that is the sequence followed here. Again, the position, how the speech originates, we study a little bit, but we can discuss that more later, like para, pashanti, madhyama, vaikari, etc. So it starts from the bottom and then moves upwards, all that. But when it hits your throat, then only it becomes audible, and then the air can hit different parts of the mouth here, and the jufa or the tongue can control, tongue and lips can control the volume or the restrict the air at different parts. So this is the sequence we are using. So e, u follow this sequence, and similarly the vyanjanam or the consonants are also arranged in this sequence. So we are starting with this, what can be produced at this position, starting at the back. So this is the first position we can imagine. We can constrict the air. Right? We cannot constrict the air because we don't have any voluntary control on this. Right? So from here our effort can start to constrict the air. So here what we have, we have a sound called k. We have a sound called k, whose position is again throat. Whose position is? Throat. Position means what? Position is where the air is constricted, restricted, pushed back. Yeah. So we also saw the position of is also defined as kantha or throat, where the air constriction happens, or at least it's supposed to happen. And then ka, in transcription written like this, and in Devanagari it is written like this. When we say ka, as in, let's say, what is the English word for ka? Cut. Yeah? Like cut. Again, how exactly this is pronounced in English is not a matter of discussion here, because there may be some addition of how sound, etc. But let's just assume this is a pure ka sound. Cut. So, what is the difference between when we pronounce and when we pronounce ka? So both the positions are defined as throat only, and we can experience that when we say cut, the first syllable there, cut. So when you try to pronounce that ka, you can experience that this part of the tongue is touching that. Ka. You can actually open your mouth wide and try to say ka, and you can experience that this part, the root of the tongue, is pushing against it. Yeah. So what is the difference between a and ka?
In there is no touching of the
Yes. Yeah. In there is no touching of the tongue, whereas in ka there is touch. That we can.
Bodha, the swaras, if you do
yeah,
that it says from kanta, and it says open, which is vrita, open. So there is no actual touching of the tongue in any way in the mouth. Am I right with that?
Yeah. For there is no touching of tongue anywhere in the mouth, including the root of the throat here. Yeah. Back of the throat.
Yeah, but these songs ka, ga, ga, na, ha, and visarga, they are prayatna, they are the same family of songs. Am I right in that?
Yeah. Right.
Not exactly the same, because ka is actually a combination of ka sound and pravritti is para of ka.
Suresh Mode.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear, but why are you jumping ahead?
No, he was saying they are all the same family.
No, that's okay. That's fine. Okay. When we come to that, the next letter, we can talk about it. If somebody is in a hurry to finish all the letters, that can be finished in one go, and probably, but that's not my goal here. So my question was what is the position, what is the difference was ka and a. My question was, what is the difference between ka and kha?
Ka plus a. Ka plus a.
Yeah. So if you have any comments or questions or discussion about this, let's talk about it.
More stress to put to speak ka.
Right.
In pronouncing there may be slight constriction at the throat, but the air flow is smooth without any movement of the tongue. With the pronunciation of ko, there is movement of the jivhamulam in the kantha area.
Right. Yeah, exactly, precisely. See, very well put there. So say that again, so we can all hear once again.
So can I ask?
One second, Mode. Let us complete once. So it was good explanation.
While pronouncing a sound, there is very slight constriction in the kantha area, but there is no touching of the jivhamulam. While pronouncing ka sound, there is touching of the jivhamulam along with the little bit constriction in the kantha area.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. For there is no touch. There is little constriction. Just like that you can experience when you are saying E, right? E. Because here we can actually, because it is a bit outside, not at the root here, we can very well feel it. That there is, when we are saying E, there is no constriction and air flows out smoothly here. Similarly, when we are saying there is there is slight bit raise here, but the air comes out smoothly without touching the throat. Whereas when you say ka, it actually touches here. Ka. Though it is may not be evident because it's the back of the tongue there. Karta Mohoday?
Precisely, I want to say, when we pronounce no action for either throat or lips or tongue. But when we pronounce ka, I think the middle part of the tongue is touching on the palate. I feel like that only.
The jivha tries to move upwards towards the soft palate area, but we describe it as a kantaha. So basically jivha moolam tries to touch the upper part of that back of the throat.
Yeah, that's what Karta Mohoday was saying. Here, similar to what happens here, the similar process is happening here. So here only the flat part, the top part is being used here, and here it is the jivha moolam, which is the root of the tongue. So root of the tongue going back here. So that is ka, right? Yeah. End of the session, but somebody said, let me a little bit quickly. Somebody said ka sound is a combination of ka and a. So yes, when we say ka, at the end what are we hearing? We are hearing o sound only, right? Though we are saying ka, like cut, right? In the cut, at the end, when you listen to it, that at the end there is sound called a only, ka. So this one, what is shown on the chart here, the 12 charts, is shown here. That is what it is being shown here. The ka sound is actually at the end there is a sound. So that's why in the transcription there is a there, which says ka. So what is the actual consonant sound here? Consonant sound is just ka without that a part, which technically and in theory and maybe in practice also it cannot be pronounced. So I'll explain that a little bit in the next class. However, the ka sound has a vowel attached to it. That's why the way consonants are said, they cannot be pronounced independently or they cannot exist independently. They need help of some swara, some vowel, for them to be expressed. That's why they are called consonants. They are not swaras. So they by themselves cannot be pronounced. So we have a sound there. However you try to say short, there will be some vowel coming out there. It may be short vowel. You try to say k, there is a short vowel there. Yeah. So what are these? So what is the practicality of it? And when we are trying to say a pure consonant, trying to say whether it is possible, that is one question. And if not, what our Shikshaa Granthas say? Now, what part of that is a vowel? How much part of that is a vowel? That we will see in the next class. So, if anybody has any question, they can stay back. Others can log off if they want to.
No question.
Sir, sir, ka is also Sandhyakshara?
No, ka is called a Sanyuktakshara. It's not Sandhi here.
It's not Sandhyakshara.
Yeah. Technically, I mean, by definition, Sandhi, when Sandhi happens, by combining two sounds, a new sound is produced.
Yeah, that's only applicable for vowels.
No, it is applicable for consonants also, but not in this case. Because ka is basically cannot be pronounced as just as it is. It needs a vowel to it, and it just comes out as an expression ka.
So pure Vyanjan is like k, k, g, whereas we usually say ko, so it is k with o.
Yeah, so these are not sandhaksharas, not sandhaksharas.
They are called swarayukta akshara.
I have a question more there.
Yeah.
So I also speak Devanagari, but in our consonants, I also have cha, tra, gyan, like cha as a kshatriya, tra as a like trini, traya, and gya as in gyani. I don't see that in the table. Is that something different?
Yeah, because you can tell me. I mean, if you analyze them, let's say tra. So you said tra, right?
Yeah.
When you say tra, does it sound like a single consonant or multiple consonants in it?
Multiple sounds.
Those are sayuktakshara.
Yeah. See, the tra is a combination of ta and ra, right? When you say tra, it has in it the ta and ra. So, this question comes up because many of these, some of the charts, they show this ksha, tra, and nya as part of this Vyanjanam.
Yeah, that's how I studied Devanagari. They were all together in this chart.
Yeah, that is some tradition has come up, but that has no support in our Shikshaa. Because we are talking here the sounds, right? So when it comes to tra, it's a combination of tra and ra. When it comes to nya, it's a combination of ja and nya. In ksha, it's a combination of ka, sha. So they are not separate sounds.
Okay.
So we call them like sayuktakshara, right,
Yeah.
Bodha?
Yes. It's a sayuktakshara, compound letters in English.
Yeah.
So they do not.
Consonants.
They
are different than consonants.
Yeah, they are combined, composite like. They are not separate consonants.
Conjunct consonants.
Yeah, conjunct components, and they do not fall on this. They are not part of this chart.
Okay.
Yeah, Lakshmikant Modi.
No question, sir. Guruji, no question.
So Vyanjana can either join with vowel, or Vyanjana can either join with another Vyanjana, isn't it?
Yeah, when there can be multiple Vyanjanas together, as you can see in Sutra.
Example, as she has already told, ka and ta, vakta, yukta.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Vakta, yukta, gajavaktara. Gajavaktara, there are three consonants there.
Yeah.
And ktara.
So Vyanjana can both it can join both with vowel as well as Vyanjana.
Yes. But at the end there has to be a swara to make it pronounceable. To be able to pronounce, there has to be a swara at the end. Okay. Dhanyavada. Namaskara.
Dhanyavada.
Namaskara.
Good night. Good day.
Good day and happy Navaratri. Happy Dasara.
Namaskara. Dhanyavad.
Dasara Shubhechha.
Vivekananda